Hey there, toy collector friends and Space 1999 fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. I'm the Triple TC, that's the time traveling toy collector, and this is a bit of a retrospective. Recently, Anderson Entertainment released some brand new Eagle transporters from the TV series Space 1999 under the Anderson Entertainment umbrella. And they're using the same core mold as the Eaglemoss versions, the Hero Collector Eaglemoss versions, which we can see here, which was sadly a very all too limited run that came out towards the latter end of Eaglemoss's existence. And I thought, as we are now seeing a renaissance, if you like, through Anderson Entertainment itself, of the Eagle transporter models, that it was time to do a little bit of a retrospective of what Eaglemoss gave us, and also of what Anderson Entertainment has already given us and is promising for the future, and whether or not it really stacks up in terms of value for money. Again, I fully appreciate if you're a collector, then value for money is a little bit moot, because either you want it in your collection or you don't, and if you do want it in your collection, you'll kind of determine what's a good price and what you're prepared to pay. And if you're not prepared to pay, then you won't. So, you know, it's kind of straightforward economics, but at the same time, if you're a bit like me and you have a sort of fear of missing out on having a complete collection, then sometimes that can push you into going, how can I justify that? Can I justify it? And then ultimately sort of switching into adult brain, child brain, and going, well, I can afford it because I've got adult money and I'm a grown-up, so I can buy what I want and I'm just going to buy it. Now, the fact that that might be where you land doesn't necessarily mean it's the right answer. So I'm not advocating just buy stuff because you want it. You do need to have, you know, a home, a roof over your head, food and bills paid. So there's always a case of, you know, spend wisely, collect sensibly. But that's advice that I might not always follow myself. So that to one side, before I start looking retrospectively at these models and what Anderson Entertainment have given us so far and what's to come potentially, please do take a moment to like the channel, like the video rather, and subscribe to the channel. It's completely free. There's no Patreon, certainly at the time of recording, and no plans for such a thing. So it's, you know, a very small ask, but it has such a wonderfully huge impact on the channel. And of course, I am currently clawing my way towards my next key milestone in terms of subscribers. So every subscription is hugely appreciated. And there's quite a wide variety of things on here. So if you like Space 1999, chances are you'll find some other stuff you might like as well. So do have a shifty around once you've finished with this video. Anyway, thank you for doing that. So these were the original three that we got from Eaglemoss, and as you can see anyway, the Space 1999 Eagle transporter, one of the most iconic, I think, spaceship designs, because it's really a short-range vehicle. And what's so beautiful is that it has that modular feel. It was, you know, very we've put it together because this is where we are in terms of our technological journey, and I think that rings very true. I think it's one of the things that make it so iconic and make it so you can buy into it as a concept, especially when you're watching the TV series, is that it does sort of have that these have been built for a function. They've been flat packed, a bit like Moonbase itself, have been flat packed, we've assembled it, and away we go. So that aesthetic nicely blends, I think, that sort of modular, built to last, built in the wild, as it were, versus that futuristic, in inverted commas, modern-esque future. Well, I say because it's not really futuristic, is it? Because it's in the past, but at the time it was made, it was 20 odd years in the future. But I think it does sort of nicely blend that sense of what we perceived the future to be. You know, gleaming white with panels everywhere, with that sort of pseudo flat packed. We've assembled this with some sticky back plastic, paper clips, and chewing gum type of stuff. So with that in mind, this was the first one that came out. I'm hoping I remember the order they came out in. This was your sort of base Eagle transporter, and again, unlike some of the dinky toys that we had, or what are they called? Yeah, dinky toys. The middle section, the actual module that was kind of interchangeable, a bit a la Thunderbird 2, doesn't come off. On the Dinky Toys, there's a little metal thing here that released whatever you had, so they were interchangeable. And you do get a little stand, a bit different in the Anderson Entertainment editions. You've got the landing pads that, again, in the Corgi version were spring-loaded, and here they're not. And all the vertical takeoff and landing thrusters there, along with some other detail. I've obviously looked at these separately, so I'm not going to just do a complete revisitation of what you've already seen. We are aware, of course, that some of the paint applications aren't quite how we would have liked them. It would have been nice had the cockpit had some of that outlining around the windows, but it doesn't, so there's no point me dwelling on that for too long. It doesn't. It's got lovely detailing around those landing pods. The engine is nicely pulled out with some very nice detail. Not a lot of suggestion of carbon scoring or anything there, but you know, there's some debate that it's not as screen accurate as one would hope for the price point, but by the same token, the price point was for Eaglemoss quite low. Subsequently, I've seen these in the secondary market going for easily twice and upwards the original value, and they do feel really nice. They're nice to handle. They're not overly heavy, but you do still get that sense that they're quite fragile and a little bit vulnerable. This, I think, was the last one that we've got, which was the laboratory pod. So you can see that sort of extended size of the pod there. We can take an aerial view. You can see how that mirrors across the piece. You've got the sort of standard door airlock situation going on there. Again, the rest of the design is the same, because again, that wonderful modular construction, still no detailing on the outline of the windows, etc. But the detailing here is very nice, and it does contribute to the completion of that Space 1999 range that Eaglemoss were tantalising us with, but never really got beyond these first 3 models. So I'll pop that back there. Again, if you do want to look at these in a bit more detail, then as I mentioned, I have already done that in individual videos, which are part of my Space 1999 playlist. Here we have the Eagle with the additional boosters attached. So again, pretty much the same layout as the standard configuration Eagle, but we do have these orange booster rockets that are mounted on the side of that central module. And again, they're a little bit fragile. You do get the sense that if you bashed it the right way, or rather the wrong way, you would lose those. But the same can be said for the engines at the back and the command module at the front, you know, and very probably the landing gear, if I'm brutally honest, because it is a nice, it's a combination supposedly of die cast and plastic, but it does mostly feel a bit plasticky, and that's not a criticism, you know, it's not a criticism at all, but it's how it feels. And so ultimately, I'll just pop that back on its stand. Ultimately, that's where it leaves us. It leaves us knowing that we have relatively fragile vehicles. Now, from a collector point of view, if you are about the monetary value, that means of these 3, they're in the wild. There's every chance that the ones that are in the wild will break or have broken, and that puts up obviously the value of those remaining somewhat. Now, how much will fluctuate over time, I've no doubt, but it's worth bearing that in mind. Then along came the demise of Eaglemoss, and I personally was very sad because I thought we might see some more of these. And of course, I was very optimistic that would happen, not least the freighters, which were carrying some of the nuclear waste, which again was another one of the toy designs that I had growing up in the late 70s and early 80s. But what we did get very recently from Anderson Entertainment, and again I've done a video on this already, is this, which is the Rescue Eagle. So again, physical configuration is exactly the same. I think there was some hope that we might see some better paint applications and detailing around the cockpit, for example, and some of those other challenging areas like the engines. and that hasn't necessarily translated. It does make me wonder whether these were previously created as part of the Eaglemoss line and then never made it to market, and Anderson Entertainment retained them. But I obviously have no inside knowledge on that. That's just supposition. Or if they've taken it to someone else to get it manufactured, because it does feel in every way like a natural successor to what we've had before from Eaglemoss. So the fact, if it has moved to another supplier, then they've done a sterling job of recreating the original 3 in terms of weighting, in terms of texture, and in terms of design. Something, if you've seen the video, you'll know the engine section was misaligned on mine when I opened it and took it out of the box. Despite the box being a fantastic work of art, it was a little misaligned, and I did have to do a little bit of jiggery pokery to realign it, which was terrifying, because I thought, oh, something's going to snap, but it didn't snap. It just sort of clicked into where it should be. But that's just something that I was mindful of. It wasn't sufficient, I didn't feel, for me to return it, but that is a very short-term feeling, on the basis that the Eaglemoss versions of the Space 1999 Eagles were around £50 to £60. The Anderson Entertainment ones, such as the one I'm holding now, are in the region of £150. So that's a price increase of £100 a unit. And we're not, certainly from this example, we're not getting an awful lot more. Now, what I will say is that this one, when it was released, I received an email, because I'm subscribed to some of the Anderson Entertainment stuff, which said you could pre-order this one and the original Eagle for a special subscription price, for a special discount price, which is either as a twin pack or as a standalone. And I obviously already had the Eagle, so I was able to order it as a standalone, which is what I did. I'm very glad that I did that, and it was at a discounted price, which is no longer available, so we won't be bothering to go into that, which of course is a little bit disappointing, because I don't know yet, because I'm still waiting to see when. I'm just trying to rearrange this slightly so I can pop that there, and then we can bring this one in to shot on a slightly more permanent basis. Let me just move this out slightly, and then I should be able to squeeze that in, and then we can have them all very happily in shot. There we go. So yeah, I have a bit of a concern about the value for money moving forwards. Don't get me wrong, the detailing on the box, the included information about the ship on the box, fabulous, fascinating, but it's a printed, cardboard box. I don't know if that's worth an extra £100 on its own. I would go so far as to say absolutely not. The new ones don't come with the little sort of traditional Eaglemoss flight stands, if you will. They come with a landing pad, which you'll see in the other video if you want to go and check that out if you've not already. I'm not showing it here purely because of space, and it's just because it requires a significant space around the base of the Eagle, so you can stand it on there and have adequate, you can see what it is around the edges, so it takes up quite a bit more space than the Eagle itself. So for the sake of this video and getting them all aligned up in shot and being a decent size, I've elected to not necessarily go down that particular route at this time. But I do like the quality of these. I do like the paint build, and as I mentioned, they have identified future releases of previously unreleased molds, which include 2 variants of the freighter. One which I believe is like an empty freighter waiting to collect stuff, and another one with actual nuclear waste contained within it. And my natural inclination is to want to purchase this. I really want to get them, but unfortunately it's going to have to be if there's one of those deals. If I can buy those 2 new releases together in a discounted early bird offer, then yeah, I'm up for that. I think I could create an internal narrative that would make that would justify my my opening my wallet for that. But if I can't do that, if I've got to buy them all separately and at a whopping 150 odd pounds, I honestly, I don't know. I don't know. I'm saying, and I'm genuine there. I'm not just sort of saying that and then you're all sitting there going, he's going to buy it. He's already bought it, depending when you're watching this. I haven't. I'm not ruling it out. I'm not saying that I won't, because I really do like them, and I always lamented the loss of my dinky toys, and I always lamented the fact that there was such a narrow range, collectively speaking, of the Eagle ships, and I really hope that there is a deal on the prices for it, because I would like to have them in the collection, without doubt. I just worry about the value for money aspect, because £300, let's just make no bones about it, for 2 of these would have, is the equivalent of a whole tranche under Eaglemoss. It just doesn't, it's almost incomputable, the difference between them. But I fully understand that Eaglemoss has gone and went bust, so there is a bit of the economist in me, which is a very small proportion, goes, well, there might be a reason why they went bust if they're charging 50 quid for a model that a company that's doing really rather well is charging 150 for. That does suggest that they might be getting the maths right. But by the same token, getting the maths right doesn't necessarily make me feel better about spending 150 quid. So I don't know. My inner jury is out at the moment, so if you have a thought, if you think they're value for money and I should commit to the thing, let me know in the comments below. Are you going to pick these up? Do you already have these? Are you pleased with them? Did you collect all 3? Did you collect the first one from Eaglemoss and then go, nah, this isn't for me, the paint's not adequately screen accurate, there's too many bits missing, it's a bit too flimsy, I don't like it? Or did you go, actually, I really kind of like these? I'd be fascinated to know, genuinely, because it could be quite a divisive thing. You're taking into consideration screen accuracy versus cost versus mass production, if it is a mass production, versus retail cost. I mean, there's a lot to take into consideration. So please do take it into consideration and let me know in the comments below what you think. I love them, I won't lie. I do love them, and it pains me greatly to sort of almost have to be reconsidering whether or not I would purchase them on the basis of cost. But, we are in a time and place where cost is a real implication and a real consideration, and considered purchases vary from person to person and their individual circumstances. And I know I was a bit flippant earlier, but I mean it when I say you have to keep a roof over your head, you have to have food, and you have to pay your bills. This is important. So if you have to choose between eating and an Eagle One Starship, eating should win. There we are. But for some people, £50 is not so much a considered purchase. For other people, it absolutely is. But however you look at that, £150 is definitely a considered purchase, a very, very heavily considered purchase when you consider what you might be getting for that £150. So, as I say, my inner jury is out. That's no disrespect to Anderson Entertainment. I love what they've done. I love most of their output, if not all of their output, really. I don't purchase it all, but I'm there for it. And Jerry Anderson's TV series and shows, massive part of my childhood, and absolutely love it. That's a fact. I'm just speaking from a personal perspective as to whether or not that's an affordable collection I can move forward with, and my mind isn't made up. Maybe you can help me reach a decision in the comments below. That's up to you. Anyway, thank you very, very much. If you do want to look at the individual ships in more detail, then by all means check out those individual Eagle Space 1999 videos. They're in the Space 1999 playlist. Otherwise, thanks for spending the last 20 or so minutes with me. I've been the Time Travelling Toy Collector. You have been a fantastic audience. Thank you so much. I know there's lots you could be spending 20 minutes doing, and I'm very grateful that you chose to spend 20 minutes with me. If you do have a few more minutes, have a nose around the channel as I mentioned earlier, you might find something else you like. And do please like this video and also subscribe to the channel. You don't have to watch every video, but at least you know when there's something that might be of interest to you popping along. And of course, as always, it's completely free. Thanks again for supporting me and the channel, and I hope your own collections continue to bring you joy, or you find joy vicariously through the collections of others. Just remember that a thing of beauty really is a toy forever. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Bye-bye for now.